Hello and welcome back to my cooking vlogs. Today we're gonna have, drum roll please. Yep, Spätzle. Oh my god, woo! Yes. This is the recipe I used, and when I said before in any of my other videos that the recipe was super easy, I lied. This was the easiest recipe I think I've ever done. Now it gets a little interesting though, because I had to use a colander to make the noodles. Hard, but it was fun and messy. I also cut down this recipe a lot because it made like 8 servings, and I think I legitimately made a 16th of the recipe. Or no, I physically made a fourth of it, but then I cut that in half because my arm got really tired trying to squeeze the dough through the colander to form the noodles. But this was really fun and definitely an interesting experience. Speaking of experiences, let me talk about my past week in Berlin. And right about now, I think I'm just, cranking the salt in there. Woo, mixing all the dry ingredients. Okay. But, so this last weekend, my lovely, lovely friends came to visit me from Rome. Shout out Avery and Izzy. We had a really great time hanging out. They came to my apartment and stayed over. Did a lot of fun sightseeing and stuff. But, so the last night they were here, we had some interesting luck. So there's basically no other way to say this, I guess, than to just say it out loud. So a man tried to break into my apartment. Thankfully, we were all there and cognizant enough to shove him outside, but he remained outside of my apartment. So I had to call the German police. And yes, I know the German police number 110. Oh my gosh, I felt like a local. So I called the German police, and it was a really interesting conversation because I obviously started the conversation in English, and I heard the operator say, "I don't speak good English." And I was like, "Oh, awesome. Okay." And then I was like, well, I speak a little bit of German. I was like, ein bisschen Deutsch. It's definitely like broken German that I'm speaking in. But yeah, we're talking, and I'm surprised that I'm even having this conversation. Like, I was kind of blown away by my skills. Oh, and now I'm letting this sit for 10 minutes. And yes, I need to boil the water and let it simmer. Yeah. Oh, and here I am preparing the dough into the colander. Okay, but back to this story. I'm talking to the police operator, saying whatever I'm trying to say. I'm like, there's a person outside of my apartment, and then I'm like, Person außen meiner Wohnung, and I'm like, does this even come across as like coherent? Does this make sense? But he understood it, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, okay, awesome. And I'm giving him my address in German. Obviously, I will not say that on the internet. I've also learned a lesson about internet safety this week. But yeah, I was like talking to him. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Maybe I am learning things. I don't know, I get worried because I don't really have a lot of conversations outside of conversations with my professors or other students, and they all speak English. But it was really, like, even though the circumstances weren't amazing, it was really, like, nice, I guess, to know that in a time of emergency I could communicate with someone, and that was kind of refreshing and calming to find out. Okay, so back to me cooking now, because I've kind of gone off on a tangent. Right now I am trying to push the Spätzle dough through the colander, which it looks like it is unsuccessful, but these looks are incorrect. I was successful. It worked really well. I used some muscles that I didn't even know I had in my forearm. Yeah, it took a lot of elbow grease, but I think it worked out pretty good. I was basically just like shoving the dough through, yeah, my messy dough hands. The dough was so thick and like wet. I would add flour and it would still be super like sticky. But yeah, so here I am. So after it would cook for like 2 to 3 minutes after I like shoved it through, I would, I don't know if you can see in this angle, but yep. I'm using like a little spatula to scoop it up to put it into a frying pan I have where I put some oil in it, and I was basically just like cooking it all a little bit to get it like a little crispy. Usually they say to use butter, but I only had olive oil, but I think it still worked out really good. And I did this in a couple rounds because first of all, my arm was dying, and second of all, the recipe also called to do that because too much, I guess it wouldn't maybe cook all right or something. But basically, I would just push it through, plop it in, and then wait for it to float. And it, yeah, it worked out pretty well. So during this Spätzle montage, I will talk a bit more about this weekend occurrence. So when the police did come, they were very time efficient and reassuring. They also spoke very good English. That was also very nice. But they were super calm, and I think that really comforted me in a way because I'm living in a foreign country, in a big city as a student, and it just felt nice, I guess. I felt supported after that, and it was a good feeling. But yeah, I did fill out a crime report. They took all my info, all my forms, my student visa and whatnot. Yeah, and then that was kind of it. That was all that came from it. But shout out those 3 policemen. They were great and awesome. Now, oh, yep. Look at how messy this was. This was, although the easiest recipe, I think it made the largest mess in my kitchen. See the noodle like dripping off the side. Yeah, but this was where I was getting super tired and like my hands were like red, and I was like, ugh, I need to just, push the rest of this through. I was like trying to like cut it off. I was getting kind of tired, but, like, oh my God, I was just scooping it in. But it all worked out in the end. Yes, because here it is in the frying pan, just starting to fry. And then, oh, yep, I have a couple clips of that, actually. Usually the noodles are longer, so mine were like really short because of the technique that I was using. Ooh, yes, here they are, all golden brown and cooked. And then I also paired it with like a basil pesto, which I've had Spätzle before, and that's what I ate it with, and it was so good. Oh my gosh. Like, look at how amazing it looked. It was awesome. Tschüss. Thanks for watching my video. Hope to see you next time.